Alright, we're going to do a end of summer garden tour, and I'll show all the stuff I've been working on. I've completely redesigned everything back here and got everything connected to the drip, and things are really popping off and greening up. So I'll get into it. So the first thing is I have, for the moment, discontinued use of my greenhouse. It turns out these covers are not designed, rookie mistake for me, not designed to be outdoors 24/7 because they weather and break down, which is kind of ridiculous. It's full of holes. That's awesome. And it broke down within a year of being outside. So I'm probably never gonna recommend or get this style of material for a greenhouse ever again. So really look at reviews if you're looking for a greenhouse like that. So it's just storage right now. Just old pots and soil. And then, oh, there goes a little lizard. There he goes. So right here is all the plants that I was keeping in the greenhouse that I'm kind of growing up into bigger plants. And I might start selling them at some point. We got a lot of pineapples down here. These are predominantly tree saplings. And then we got some small ones down here. This is like some palms that I'm experimenting with growing. I'm not sure that there's a strong interest in buying these sorts of things, but I like to experiment with growing a lot of stuff, obviously. So that's one of the things I'm experimenting with growing. And then, so the drip starts over there, comes along here, and then it's still in the same orientation around the yard, just makes a big U shape, but I've gotten a little more sophisticated with it, and I have more offshoots coming off of it. So it goes all the way around the yard and stops over here. And what I've got going on here is all my trees that I'm trialing, growing, and they're all connected to the drip now, and they're all greening up and putting on new growth at last. And you'll notice that I still have my wine bottle system in them with the watering spikes. That's just because I didn't want to take them all out and store them, and what if I needed to use it, like what if the drip stopped working for whatever reason. So I've just left that in place for now. And then I've kind of compressed the actual annual garden into a smaller place over here. It's much more dense. And while I was kind of expanding the usage of the drip, I did connect my strawberry towers here. And I even got my bananas connected to the drip. And this one has got a pretty sizable pup coming off of it. It's almost as big as the mother at this point. It's because this one got knocked back by weather several times, but I'll have to cut this one out pretty soon and pot it up. But things are getting kind of out of control in here. I planted this tomato plant not that long ago. This is like a month or two old, maybe. And it's kind of taking over the side of the house. insane. And it hasn't even really fruited yet. It's just been growing. And I've considered cutting it back, but it's kind of, it actually does have some fruit in the middle there. Cool. There's so much branching, like interlocking branches, that it's kind of creating a column for itself to stabilize itself. So I didn't want to mess with that too much. I have another one over here, different variety, that's kind of, it's not on a trellis like that. It's in a tomato cage, which is not the best way. It's not as tall either. So long story short, it's kind of octopusing out from the center, and have trimmed this one a bit. It's just kind of a mess. But now I'm much happier with the way this is, because it's all interplanted, and it's gonna make for a healthier garden overall. I think this is the zucchini. I think this really got away from me. It's kind of taking over this bed all on its own and drowning out everything else. I think this is a pumpkin. It's kind of trying to make its way out from under the zucchini. Then we got some tomatoes back here. Got a couple dragon fruit flowers that it looks like these ones didn't set. They're turning yellow here. So this usually means that they're going to fall off. So these fruit didn't set. I think if I had come out here and like hand pollinated these, they might have worked out. There's one back there that looks like it's good to go. It's just needs more time. That one's staying solid green. It's not turning yellow. And it's much bigger, so that one's been there for a little while. I moved some of these beds around. This is actually plastic tote that I was growing sweet potatoes in. And I thought that I had pulled them all out, but they came back with a vengeance. They like the water. So I've got sweet potatoes growing in here again, even though I thought I was done with them. And then I've got like an assortment of herbs down here. We got stevia. I finally got a new rosemary plant. And we got the Thai basil. And I got a new chocolate mint. My other mints are kind of just dying off, but I'm hoping they come back. And I also connected all of these dragon fruit pots around this concrete pad to the drip as well, which was a long time coming. They've been kind of left to their own devices for quite a while. And I'm using this. So this concrete pad, if I haven't shown it off before, is actually designed for a spa or a jacuzzi. And this fake rock has the power cable underneath it. But at some point I got sick of looking at it, so I put a fake rock on top of it. Also helped prevent tripping over that darn cable. But anyway, I'm intending to kind of turn this spa pad into a little bit of a pumpkin patch. So I think that this vine is from Seminole pumpkins. Not 100% positive, but I think this is what this is. So it's kind of coming out of the back of these beds here, and it's sprawling over. And I told myself I wasn't gonna do this because it's a small backyard, and if you have pumpkin vines going everywhere, then it's very difficult to walk around. I think I might make an exception this time because there's more space over here on the spa pad. Last time I did this, I had them over here under the awning and in front of the window, and it was very difficult to navigate all these vines that were coming out of the beds. So I didn't want to do that again. And I might regret this later. So I'm kind of trying the same thing again. It's just further out in the yard where I'm not having to pass by it all the time. And then there's actually a lot more dragon fruit. Actually, maybe not. So we had a lot of flowers on this plant, but it looks like they may not have set because they're a bit yellow. So that's okay. We've gotten a few good ones. I don't need every single fruit to set. Looks like I got a scrawny one over here. I have circled back to trying to grow milkweed again, but the first time I grew it, I kind of neglected it, along with a lot of other experiments that I start. Just kind of don't have time for it or forget about it. But now they are connected to the drip as well, so they're kind of set and forget. So we're going to have 3 milkweed pots growing in here. Oh, and here's the passion fruit. It's flowering again. And this space is these felt pots they each have a different vining plant in them. It's kind of a high density planting that may or may not work out in my favor over time. I'm gonna have to groom it heavily to keep it under control. So just to rattle them off, we got boysenberries, blackberries. This plant's not thriving, so it seems. The raspberries, which is kind of the same deal. It's growing some canes out, but they're dying back. So maybe I just need to fertilize these guys a little more. The boysenberries seem to be doing halfway decently. Passion fruit's doing amazing. Could probably be doing better because it hasn't produced a lot of fruit. Might just be that it has taken time to get established. And then I have the kiwi here. You can see it's kind of fuzzy vine there. And then I have 3 types of grapes, which is where this kind of turns into chaos because they go where they want to go. I pulled this vine off of my neighbor's tree because it was going over the fence. I knew that putting in grapes was really a roll of the dice because they're just going to sprawl and grow everywhere. The one in the corner over here has gone along the fence, and it's actually over here going that way. So I knew that long term it wasn't going to work, but I wanted to experiment with growing grapes and see what I could learn from it. So I'm definitely learning a lot. And then we got my asparagus back here. It's kind of also a dense looking monster. Oh, and here's my other sweet potato plant that I've kind of left to its own devices. This one I could probably dig through and get some sweet potatoes from. But I think for the most part, there's a tiny little dragon fruit bud, brand new one. Anyway, for the most part, I think the garden and my like little nursery area over here are kind of adapting to all the changes that I've made, and I think we'll really start to see more yield and more fruiting of things next season. Right now it's just things are probably storing energy in their roots and we're getting new growth. For instance, the blueberries that I have back here were pretty sorry looking, but now they're really greening up. So I'm expecting to have a lot more yield next year. And one thing I'm excited about in this area, or another thing rather, is I have, I think, 4 varieties of mulberries. Yeah. I'm hoping I actually get some mulberries next year. I know they're growing in a pot, but so you can only expect so much. But I'm hoping I actually get some. They actually started flowering again after they started getting water from the drip, which was interesting because it's well past their season right now. Here's another example of this tomato plant just falling and sprawling over the back of this trellis. Some of these things I like to let do their thing, but in some cases it's just too much of a mess and too haphazard, and I can't really tell what's going on. So I think I might have to get in there and do some more work on this tomato plant to clean it up, because it's gonna make it difficult to work with the other plants in here. But I think I'm really happy with the changes I made. I was able to do them in a pretty quick amount of time after developing the plan for it. And then I've got one little experiment that I threw together here. This is actually a fire pit, but I have all these plants around it, so I'm not really going to use it for a fire pit. So I've just filled it with soil, and I got it connected to the drip, and I have this mesh over it because the bird feeders are right here, trying to discourage them from messing with this bed. So this is going to be kind of a hybrid experiment. I've got a bunch of wildflower seeds that I've sown in here, and also I'm doing a micro Three Sisters garden. If you're not familiar with the Three Sisters gardening or technique, rather, that's basically corn, pumpkins, and beans. The corn grows up and kind of shades the pumpkin vines, and also creates a trellis for the beans to grow up. And the beans are going to fix nitrogen in the soil and kind of help the whole ecosystem. Look at that. You can see that, this orb weaver web right here in the sun. That's pretty beautiful. Anyway, starting to ramble. A lot of changes have happened back here, but I think it's going to be really cool to see what this looks like next spring. I think now, as summer's ending, things are going to start slowing down, going into fall, and certainly into winter. The green is going to start falling off in a lot of cases, and I will certainly be interested to see how some of these tropicals respond to the winter, because some of them have not been too happy in the winter, but they've also never had drip irrigation before, so I think they might be able to sustain themselves better going into the winter. But anyway, tried to end this video several times. Now I'm rambling again. I'm just gonna end it. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.